The alarm bells rang through the massive space station that floated between 3-star systems. Ambassador Zextar rushed down the long metal halls, his 4 legs clicking against the floor. His green skin was covered in sweat, and his 3 eyes were wide with fear. He had never seen anything like the data on his tablet. The Galactic Council meeting room was already full when he arrived. Creatures from 12 different worlds sat around the huge circular table. Some had fur, others had scales, and a few looked like walking trees. But they all had one thing in common today. They were all scared. High Chancellor Vexthan stood at the center of the room. His tall blue body towered over everyone else, and his 6 red eyes looked angry. He was the leader of the most powerful empire in the galaxy, and he did not like being confused. "Tell us what you found," Vexthan said in his deep voice. Zextar's hands shook as he connected his tablet to the big screen. Numbers and charts filled the wall. The other aliens leaned forward to look. 3 months ago, our deep space sensors picked up something strange, Zextar began. Energy readings from the Sol system, the 3rd planet from their star. A creature with 8 arms made a clicking sound. "You mean the humans? Those primitive things that just learned to fly between planets?" "Yes, but something has changed," Zextar said. "Look at these power readings." The screen showed a graph with a line that went up and up. At first, it was almost flat. Then it started to rise slowly. But in the last few weeks, the line shot up like a rocket. "This is impossible," said a voice. From the back, "Humans barely have nuclear power. They fight wars with metal bullets." Zextar touched his tablet again. New images appeared on the screen. They showed the space around Earth and its moon. But instead of the small metal boxes that humans usually flew, there were strange shapes moving in the darkness. "Our spy satellites took these pictures yesterday," Zextar said. "These ships are unlike anything we have ever seen." The shapes on the screen were sleek and smooth. They seemed to bend the light around them, making them hard to see clearly. They moved in ways that defied the laws of physics that every species in the galaxy knew. "How many ships?" asked Chancellor Vexthan. "We don't know," Zextar admitted. "They appear and disappear. Our sensors can't track them properly. But we think there are at least 50. A heavy silence filled the room. 50 ships might not sound like much, but every alien in that room remembered their history books. They remembered what happened when humans got angry. Meanwhile, on the far side of the galaxy, Commander Jake Martinez stood on the observation deck of Luna Base Alpha. The base was built inside a crater on Earth's moon, hidden from any alien eyes that might be watching. Through the thick glass windows, he could see the most beautiful and terrifying sight in human history. The ship was enormous. It was longer than 10 city blocks and wider than a football stadium. Its black hull seemed to eat the light from the stars around it. Strange patterns glowed along its sides, pulsing like a heartbeat. "She's ready," said a voice behind him. Jake turned to see Dr. Lisa Brooks walking toward him. She was a small woman with short brown hair and bright green eyes. But everyone on the base knew she was the smartest person humanity had ever produced. "The AI systems are online," Lisa continued. "The quantum drives are charged. All we need is your order." Jake looked back at the massive ship. They had been building it in secret for 5 years. The best minds from every country on Earth had worked together. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, and computer experts had all given their lives to this project. "Have the aliens noticed anything?" Jake asked. Lisa smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had been hiding in the shadows for too long. "Oh, they've noticed," she said. "Our friends at the Galactic Council are having an emergency meeting right now. They're trying to figure out what we're up to." "And what do they think we're up to?" Jake asked. "They think we're building a few advanced ships," Lisa said. "Maybe trying to upgrade our military. They have no idea what we've really been doing for the past 50 years. Jake nodded. The aliens thought. They knew humans. They thought humans were young and violent, but not very smart. They thought human technology was primitive and slow. They were wrong about everything. How long do we have before they figure it out? Jake asked. Maybe a few weeks, Lisa said. Maybe a few days, but by then, it won't matter. She handed him a tablet showing data from around the galaxy. Human ships were already moving through alien space. They were small and fast, and they avoided the big alien fleets. But they were watching everything and learning everything. Phase 1 is almost complete, Lisa said. We know their ship designs, their weapons, their tactics. We know which planets have the most valuable resources and which ones have the biggest armies. Jake looked at the data scrolling across the screen. For decades, the aliens had treated humans like children. They had made rules that humans had to follow. They had taken the best planets for themselves and left humans with the scraps. They had acted like humans were too stupid and too weak to matter. And Phase 2? Jake asked. Lisa's smile grew wider. Phase 2 begins tomorrow. That's when they start to understand what humans really are. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the debate was getting louder. Some aliens wanted to send ships to the Sol system immediately. Others wanted to wait and see what the humans were planning. A few suggested that they should just destroy Earth before the humans became a real threat. We should have done this years ago, growled a creature that looked like a giant wolf. Humans are dangerous. They never stop fighting. They never give up. But they're still primitive, argued another alien. Their biggest ships are smaller than our fighters. Their weapons can't even scratch our shields. Ambassador Zextar looked at his tablet again. New data was coming in from their spy networks. The numbers were getting worse by the hour. There's something else, he said quietly. Our sources on Earth have gone silent. All of them. The room fell quiet again. Every species in the galaxy had spies on human worlds. It was easy to bribe humans or trick them into sharing information. Humans were supposed to be easy to manipulate. How many sources? Asked Chancellor Vexton. All of them, Zextar repeated. Every spy, every informant, every corrupt official. They all stopped reporting 3 days ago. The aliens looked at each other with growing fear. If the humans had found all their spies, it meant the humans were much smarter than anyone had thought. It meant the humans had been planning this for a long time. We need to act now, said the wolf-like creature, before they become too strong. But as the aliens argued about what to do, they didn't know that human ships were already moving through the darkness between the stars. They didn't know that every word they spoke was being recorded by devices too small to detect. They didn't know that the humans had already won the first battle of a war that the aliens didn't even know had started. Jake Martinez stood on the observation deck and watched as the great ship began to move. It turned slowly and gracefully, like a whale swimming through deep ocean waters. Its engines made no sound, and its passage left no trace. Where is she going? Jake asked. To introduce herself to our neighbors, Lisa said. It's time the galaxy learned what happens when you underestimate humanity. The ship disappeared into the darkness, leaving only empty space behind. But somewhere in that darkness, the future of the galaxy was about to change forever. Captain Amy Rodriguez had been flying through space for 15 years, but she had never seen anything like this. Her ship, the Horizon Scout, was small and fast. It was built for watching and hiding, not for fighting. Right now, she wished she was somewhere else. Captain, you need to look at this, said Lieutenant Ben Carter from his station. His voice was shaking. Amy floated over to Ben's screen. The Horizon Scout was following a group of Zephyrian patrol ships. The Zephyrians were tall blue aliens with 4 arms and bad tempers. They controlled this part of space and didn't like visitors. What am I looking at? Amy asked. Ben pointed at his screen. A human ship just appeared out of nowhere. But look at these readings. Amy stared at the numbers on the screen. The energy readings were impossible. No human ship could generate that much power. Their biggest battleships barely showed up on these sensors. Are you sure it's human? Amy asked. The computer says it is, Ben replied. But I've never seen anything like it. Through the front window of the Horizon Scout, Amy saw something that made her blood run cold. A ship was floating in the darkness between the stars. It was smooth and black with curves that seemed to flow like water. Strange lights moved under its skin, pulsing like a living heart. The ship was beautiful and terrible at the same time. It looked like something from a dream or a nightmare. Amy had seen every type of human ship ever built. This wasn't one of them. Try to contact them, Amy ordered. Ben worked at his controls. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Horizon Scout. Unknown vessel, please identify yourself. The answer came back immediately. The voice was human, but there was something wrong with it. It sounded too calm, too perfect. This is the Nemesis. Stand down, Captain. We have business with the Zephyrians. Amy felt ice in her stomach. Business? What kind of business? But the mysterious ship was already moving. It glided toward the Zephyrian patrol fleet like a shark swimming toward smaller fish. The Zephyrian ships were huge. Each one was twice as big as the largest human battleship. They had thick armor and powerful weapons. Amy had seen them destroy asteroid pirates with ease. The lead Zephyrian ship sent out a warning message in their clicking language. Amy's computer translated it. Unknown vessel, you are in Zephyrian space. Leave immediately or be destroyed. The Nemesis did not slow down. Captain, Ben whispered, the Zephyrians are charging their weapons. Amy watched in horror as the alien ships turned to face the lone human vessel. Plasma cannons emerged from their hulls. These weapons could melt solid rock. They could turn a human ship into vapor in seconds. Get us back, Amy ordered. Full power to the engines. But she couldn't look away from what was happening in front of her. The Zephyrian ships opened fire all at once. Bright streams of energy shot across space. Each beam was hot enough to burn through a mountain. They all hit the Nemesis at the same time. Amy expected to see the human ship explode into a million pieces. Instead, she saw something impossible. Energy beams hit the Nemesis and disappeared. They didn't bounce off. They didn't burn through the hull. They just vanished, like they had never existed at all. What just happened? Ben asked in a small voice. The Nemesis stopped moving. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then a single beam of red light shot out from the mysterious ship. The beam hit the largest Zephyrian vessel. Amy expected to see an explosion. Instead, the massive alien ship simply wasn't there anymore. 1 second it existed, and the next second there was only empty space and floating dust. Dear God, Amy whispered. The other Zephyrian ships turned and ran. These were proud warriors who had never backed down from a fight. But they fled like scared children, broadcasting panic messages on every frequency. Amy tried to contact the Nemesis again. This is Captain Rodriguez. What are you? Who built you? There was no answer. The mysterious ship was already fading away, becoming invisible against the stars. Within seconds, it was gone completely. Ben, tell me you recorded. All of that, Amy said. Every second, Captain, Ben replied. But I don't think anyone will believe it. 3 hours later, the recording was being watched by every military leader in human space. Amy sat in a secure conference room on Mars base. Looking at the shocked faces on the screen, General Frank Morris was the head of Earth Defense. He was a tough old soldier who had fought in 3 wars. Right now, he looked like he had seen a ghost. Captain Rodriguez, are you absolutely sure this was a human ship? He asked. The computer identified it as human, sir, Amy replied. But I've never seen technology like that. We don't have ships that can absorb energy weapons. We don't have guns that can make other ships disappear. Could it be alien technology? Asked another officer. No, sir, Amy said. The voice was definitely human. And the ship responded to human communication protocols. Dr. Lisa Brooks was also in the meeting, though she was participating from a secret location. Amy could see her on one of the screens, but the background was blurred. Dr. Brooks, you're our top scientist, General Morris said. Is this technology even possible? Lisa smiled in a way that made Amy uncomfortable. Theoretically, yes. If someone had unlimited resources and 50 years to work in secret. 50 years? General Morris looked confused. We've only had space travel for 30 years. That we know of, Lisa said quietly. The meeting went on for 2 more hours. Everyone had questions, but nobody had answers. The recording was classified. At the highest level. Only the most trusted officers were allowed to see it, but word spread anyway. Within days, every human in space had heard rumors about the ghost ship. Some people said it was a secret government project. Others claimed it was built by aliens who looked like humans. Amy didn't know what to believe. She had seen the ship with her own eyes, but it still felt like a dream. Meanwhile, in the Zephyrian Empire, panic was spreading. The surviving ships had told their story to anyone who would listen. A human vessel had appeared from nowhere and destroyed their most powerful warship with a single shot. The Zephyrian military leaders called an emergency meeting. They had been fighting wars for 1,000 years. They had conquered dozens of worlds, but they had never seen anything like the Nemesis. How many of these ships do the humans have? Asked Admiral Ziegther. We don't know, replied his intelligence officer. Our spies on Earth have all gone silent. We can't get any information about human military projects. What about our other enemies? Are they working with the humans? No, sir. Everyone is just as confused as we are. The Zephyrians weren't the only ones asking questions. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Human ships had been spotted in 12 different star systems. They appeared without warning, observed for a while, and then vanished. These ships were all different from each other, but they shared certain features. They were all smooth and curved. They all seemed to bend light around themselves. And they all ignored attempts at communication. Back on Earth, ordinary people were starting to notice changes. The government was spending more money on space projects. Scientists were being recruited for classified research. And sometimes late at night, strange lights could be seen moving across the sky. Jake Martinez stood on the observation deck of Luna Base Alpha, watching the stars. More ships were being launched every day. The secret fleet was growing larger and more powerful. How many more? He asked Lisa. 27 ships are ready for active duty, she replied. 50 more will be completed by the end of the month. And the aliens, do they suspect anything? Lisa laughed. They think we built one experimental ship. They have no idea that we've been preparing for this moment since humans first looked up at the stars. Jake nodded. The first phase of the plan was working perfectly. Human ships were spreading across the galaxy, gathering information and testing alien defenses. Soon, it would be time for Phase 2. When do we reveal ourselves? Jake asked. Soon, Lisa said. Very soon. Let them wonder and worry for a little while longer. Fear is a powerful weapon, and right now, the entire galaxy is starting to fear us. In the darkness between the stars, more human ships moved silently through space. They watched alien fleets and studied alien worlds. They learned the locations of military bases and the patrol routes of enemy ships. The aliens called them ghost ships because they appeared and disappeared like spirits. But these ships were very real, and they were preparing for a war that would change the galaxy forever. Captain Amy Rodriguez filed her final report about the encounter with the Nemesis. She ended it with a single sentence that would prove to Be prophetic. I believe we have just witnessed the beginning of a new age in human history. She was right. The age of human dominance was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council had been going on for 6 hours. Fleet Admiral Crixenok stood at the center of the great chamber, his red scales dark with anger and fear. Around him, representatives from 12 different species listened in growing terror. In the past 30 days, we have lost 63 ships, Crixenok announced. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. 63 ships destroyed by human vessels that appear from nowhere and vanish like ghosts. A creature with 6 tentacles raised one of them. Surely you exaggerate, Admiral. Humans barely know how to fly between planets. Crixenok touched a control pad. The walls of the chamber filled with images. Ship after ship appeared on the screens, all of them twisted metal and floating debris. The hegemony cruiser Thunder's Edge, Crixenok said as the first image appeared. Destroyed 3 days ago near the Vega system. Witnesses say a human ship appeared, fired once, and the cruiser simply stopped existing. More images flashed across the walls. Each one showed the remains of powerful alien warships. Some were torn in half. Others were melted into shapeless lumps of metal. A few had simply vanished, leaving only empty space. The Dominion battleship Fist of Glory, Crixenok continued. The Zephyrian dreadnought Stormcaller. The Centauri destroyer Swift Death. All gone. All destroyed by ships that our sensors can barely detect. Commander Steve Hayes sat in the human observer section, trying to look surprised and concerned. Inside, he was amazed at how quickly things were developing. Earth's official government had no knowledge of these attacks, but Steve had his suspicions about who was responsible. Have any of these mystery ships been captured or destroyed? Asked Chancellor Vexthen. No, Crixenok admitted. We have tried everything. Energy weapons, kinetic missiles, plasma torpedoes. Nothing works. Their hulls absorb our attacks like sponges absorbing water. What about their attack patterns? Asked a voice from the back. Crixenok brought up a new display. It showed a map of the galaxy with red dots marking the locations of attacks. The pattern was clear to anyone who looked closely. They target military vessels only, Crixenok explained. Cargo ships, passenger transports, and civilian stations are left untouched. This suggests a coordinated military campaign. Steve Hayes raised his hand. Admiral, has anyone attempted to communicate with these vessels? Every attempt at contact has been ignored, Crixenok replied. They appear, attack, and disappear before reinforcements can arrive. Our intelligence suggests the ships are crewed by humans, but the technology is far beyond anything in their known military inventory. Meanwhile, deep beneath the frozen surface of Mars, Dr. Kate Williams studied the battle reports streaming in from across the galaxy. The secret command center was filled with screens showing star maps, ship designs, and weapons data. The Vorthit shields failed after 12 seconds of sustained fire. She noted to Colonel Ray Thompson, who stood beside her reviewing the tactical data. What about their new armor plating? Ray asked. Kate smiled coldly. Quantum-locked uranium. Very impressive. Unfortunately for them, our disruptor beams work at the subatomic level. Their armor might as well be made of paper. The Prometheus initiative had grown far beyond its original scope. What had started as humanity's attempt to build better spaceships had become something much more ambitious. They weren't just creating weapons, they were rewriting the rules of warfare itself. How many ships do we have active now? Ray asked. 87 in deep space operations, Kate replied. Another 43 in final testing. By the end of the month, we'll have over 200 vessels ready for combat. Ray looked at the tactical display showing alien fleet movements. They're starting to group their ships together, traveling in larger formations. Good, Kate said. Let them bunch up. It will make our job easier when the time comes. The alien response to the mysterious attacks was predictable. Every major power in the galaxy was pulling their ships back to defend their home systems. Trade routes were being abandoned. Military patrols were doubled and tripled, but it didn't help. The human ships seemed to know exactly where the alien fleets would be. They struck at the worst possible moments, when ships were isolated or vulnerable. 3 days after the council meeting, the hegemony lost an entire patrol squadron near the binary system of Rigel. 5 heavy cruisers and their escort ships were found drifting in space, all of their systems mysteriously dead. The crews were alive but unconscious, with no memory of what had happened. The pattern was always the same. Human ships would appear without warning, disable their targets, and vanish before help could arrive. Sometimes they destroyed enemy vessels completely. Other times they left the ships intact but powerless. "They're studying us," Admiral Crixnock told his staff officers during their daily briefing. "Learning our tactics, our weaknesses, our ship designs. This isn't random piracy. This is preparation for something bigger." His intelligence officer, a thin creature with purple skin and large black eyes, nodded in agreement. "Our analysts believe the humans are testing our defensive capabilities. Each attack provides them with new data about our weapons and armor." "To what end?" Crixnock asked. The intelligence officer hesitated. "We believe they are preparing for a full-scale war, sir." Back on Earth, ordinary people were starting to notice changes. The government was spending enormous amounts of money on classified projects. Scientists and engineers were disappearing into secret facilities. Strange lights moved across the night sky. News reports spoke of increased military preparedness and advances in space technology. But most humans had no idea that their species was already fighting a war among the stars. Jake Martinez stood in the command center of Luna Base Alpha, watching the progress reports scroll across dozens of screens. The secret fleet was growing stronger every day. "Phase 3 is ready to begin," Dr. Lisa Brooks announced as she entered the room. "All primary targets have been identified and analyzed." "What about the Galactic Council?" Jake asked. "They're exactly where we want them," Lisa replied. Confused, frightened, and completely unprepared for what comes next, Jake looked at the star map showing human ship positions throughout the galaxy. Tiny blue dots marked the location of each vessel. There were so many dots that some star systems looked like they were glowing. "Do they suspect the truth yet?" Jake asked. Lisa shook her head. "They think we've built maybe 20 or 30 advanced ships. They have no idea that we've been preparing for this moment for 50 years. The reality was staggering. While the galaxy had been ignoring humanity as a minor species, human scientists had been working in secret. They had developed technologies that made alien science look primitive. They had built ships that could travel faster than light without leaving any trace. They had created weapons that could destroy entire fleets." "How many more attacks before we reveal ourselves?" Jake asked. "Soon," Lisa said. "Let them lose a few more fleets first. Fear is our greatest weapon right now." In the Centauri Republic, Senator Valther called an emergency session of their military council. The Republic controlled 50 star systems and had one of the most powerful navies in the galaxy. But even they were starting to feel helpless. "We lost 3 more ships yesterday," she announced to the assembled officers. The destroyer Swift Arrow, the cruiser Night Hunter, and the supply ship Golden Star. All of them were traveling together in a convoy. "How?" asked Admiral Torgoth. "That convoy had 12 escort ships and the latest defensive systems. According to the survivors, a single human ship appeared in the middle of their formation," Valther replied. "It disabled all 15 vessels in less than 2 minutes, then disappeared." The room fell silent. These were experienced military officers who had fought in dozens of battles. But they had never encountered an enemy like this. "What do our spies on Earth report?" asked another officer. "Nothing," Valther admitted. "All of our sources have gone quiet. It's like the entire human intelligence network was discovered and eliminated overnight. This was partially true. The Prometheus Initiative had indeed found and neutralized most alien spy networks on human worlds. But they had done it so carefully that it looked like coincidence. A spy would have an accident. An informant would suddenly become unreliable. A corrupt official would mysteriously lose interest in selling secrets. Colonel Ray Thompson supervised these operations from his secure facility on Mars. The last Dominion agent was picked up yesterday, he reported to Kate Williams. That makes it a clean sweep across all human worlds. Excellent, Kate replied. How long before they realize what happened? They already suspect, Ray said. But they can't prove anything. As far as anyone can tell, their spies just got unlucky or changed their minds. Kate looked at the tactical display showing alien fleet movements. Every major power was pulling their forces back to defend their core worlds. Trade was slowing down. Some species were even talking about peace negotiations. They're scared, she observed. Good, Ray replied. Scared enemies make mistakes, and we'll be ready to take advantage of every mistake they make. In the darkness between the stars, more human ships moved silently through space. They were preparing for the final phase of the plan. Soon, the galaxy would learn the truth about what humanity had become. The age of alien dominance was ending. The largest fleet in galactic history gathered near the dying star of Proxima Centauri. 327 ships from 12 different species floated in perfect formation. Each vessel represented the finest military technology there civilizations could produce. Admiral Crixenok stood on the bridge of his flagship, the massive dreadnought Eternal Fury. Around him, his officers monitored communications from the combined fleet. This was their final gamble. Every major power in the galaxy had contributed ships to this armada. All vessels report ready for battle, announced his communications officer. Good, Crixenok replied. Today we end this threat once and for all. The plan was simple. Intelligence. Reports suggested that only a few dozen human ships were operating in this sector. The combined fleet would overwhelm them with sheer numbers. No matter how advanced human technology was, they couldn't fight 300 ships at once, or so the aliens thought. Contact on long-range sensors, called out the sensor operator. Single vessel approaching from the direction of Sol. Crixenok moved to the main display. One tiny dot moved across the screen toward their massive fleet. He almost laughed. The humans were sending one ship against an armada. Magnify the image, he ordered. The screen zoomed in on the approaching vessel. What they saw made every alien in the fleet stop talking. The ship was enormous. It was longer than the biggest alien dreadnought and twice as wide. Its hull was smooth black metal that seemed to absorb light itself. How big is that thing? Whispered an officer. Sensors show it's over 2 kilometers long, the operator replied in a shaking voice. The ship moved toward them slowly, like a great whale swimming through an ocean of stars. Strange patterns of light moved under its skin. The very space around it seemed to bend and twist. Admiral Helen Price stood on the bridge of the Harbinger, humanity's first true flagship. Around her, a crew of enhanced humans worked with AI systems that had evolved beyond their original programming. Every person on the ship had been changed by advanced genetic treatments and neural implants. Admiral, the alien fleet is demanding our surrender, reported Communications Officer Dan Kelly. Helen smiled. Her enhanced mind could process data from every system on the ship at the same time. She could see the fear in the alien fleet formations. She could sense their confusion and panic. Open a channel to all vessels, she said calmly. Her voice traveled across space to hundreds of alien commanders. Each one was certain that their superior numbers would win the day. This is Admiral Price of the Terran Strategic Command. You have entered human space without permission. You have 30 seconds to withdraw from this system. This is your only warning. The response was immediate. Every alien ship in the fleet opened fire at once. Energy beams, plasma bolts, kinetic missiles, and exotic matter bombs lit up the darkness like a tiny sun. The combined firepower could have destroyed an entire planet. When the light faded, the Harbinger floated untouched in space. Its hull glowed softly as it absorbed the energy from the alien attacks and converted it into power for its own systems. Impossible, breathed Admiral Crixinock. Nothing can survive that much firepower. Admiral, his sensor operator called out, the human ship is moving. The Harbinger began to accelerate, but it didn't move like other ships. Space itself seemed to fold around the massive vessel. It appeared to phase in and out of reality as it approached the alien fleet. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Crixinock ordered. But it was too late. The Harbinger moved through the alien formation like a ghost passing through walls. As it traveled, strange energy pulses spread out from its hull. Every alien ship caught in these pulses simply stopped working. Engines shut down. Weapons went offline. Life support systems failed and then restarted. Gravity generators flickered. On and off. Within minutes, the most powerful fleet in galactic history was reduced to floating scrap metal. This is Admiral Price to all alien vessels. Helen's voice came over the communication channels. Your ships have been disabled but not destroyed. Your crews are unharmed. This is a demonstration of human capabilities. The alien fleet floated helplessly in space. 300 ships, millions of crew members, all completely powerless. They had come to destroy the human threat, and instead they had learned how helpless they truly were. Your governments will receive our terms within 24 hours, Helen continued. We suggest you consider them carefully. Rescue ships arrived 3 days later to collect the disabled fleet. By then, every government in the galaxy had received the same message. It was simple and terrifying. The message began with a single line: humanity claims its place among the stars. It continued with details that made alien leaders question everything they thought they knew. For 50 years, while the galaxy had dismissed humans as primitives, humanity had been evolving. They had developed genetic enhancements that made them smarter and stronger. They had created AI systems that could think faster than any biological brain. They had built technologies that made alien science look like children's toys. We offer the galaxy a choice, the message said. Accept humanity as an equal partner in galactic affairs, or face the consequences of continued hostility. The proof of human capabilities was attached to the message. Technical specifications for weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Ship designs that could travel between galaxies. Medical advances that could extend life for thousands of years. Dr. Lisa Brooks stood before the emergency session of the United Nations Security Council. The leaders of Earth's government were finally learning the truth about what their species had become. For half a century, a secret organization has been preparing humanity for this moment, she explained. We call it the Prometheus Initiative. Our goal was simple: ensure that humanity would never again be at the mercy of more advanced civilizations. Secretary General Robert Chun leaned forward in his chair. How many people knew about this? 50,000 scientists, engineers, and military personnel, Lisa replied. All sworn to secrecy, all working toward the same goal. And now, Chun asked? Now we reveal ourselves to the galaxy, Lisa said. The age of human subservience is over. We are no longer the young species that others can ignore or manipulate. She activated a holographic display showing the current state of galactic politics. Every major power was recalling their fleets. Trade agreements were being renegotiated. Some species were already requesting formal diplomatic meetings with Earth. What do they want from us? Asked another council member. Respect, Lisa said simply. For too long, aliens have treated humans like children. They made rules we had to follow. They took the best planets for themselves. They acted like we didn't matter. And now, Lisa smiled. Now they know better. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy changed in ways no one had imagined. The Galactic Council formally invited Earth to join as a full member with equal voting rights. Trade routes that had been closed to human ships were suddenly open. Alien universities began offering exchange programs for human students. Some species tried to resist the new reality. The Dominion Empire attempted to form an alliance against humanity. Within a week, their entire fleet had been mysteriously disabled while conducting training exercises. No shots were fired, but the message was clear. Commander Steve Hayes was promoted to ambassador and given the task of negotiating humanity's new role in galactic politics. His first meeting with the Galactic Council was very different from previous sessions. The human delegation recognizes that this transition has been difficult for everyone, he said to the assembled alien representatives. We want to work together to build a better future for all species. Chancellor Vexton, who had once dismissed humans as primitives, now spoke carefully and respectfully. What assurances can you give us that humanity will not abuse its new position? The same assurance we ask from you, Steve replied. Mutual respect and peaceful cooperation. We don't want to conquer the galaxy. We just want to be treated as equals. The negotiations took months, but eventually new treaties were signed. Humanity gained access to advanced alien knowledge in exchange for sharing some of their own technologies. Trade agreements were restructured to be more fair. Military cooperation pacts were established, but the most important change was psychological. Every species in the galaxy now knew that humanity was not to be underestimated. The young, violent primitives had become something else entirely. Something powerful and dangerous and worthy of respect. Jake Martinez, now promoted to Admiral, stood on the observation deck of Luna Base Alpha. The secret base was no longer secret. It had become the headquarters of humanity's new space fleet. How many ships do we have now? He asked Dr. Lisa Brooks, who had been appointed as Director of Advanced Human Development. Over 1,000 vessels of various classes, she replied. And production is accelerating. We'll have 5,000 ships within the next 5 years. Jake looked out at the stars, thinking about how much had changed. Do you think we made the right choice? Revealing ourselves like this? Lisa smiled. Look at the results. Human colonies are being established in dozens of star systems. Our children are learning alien languages in school. Our scientists are working with the greatest minds in the galaxy. And if someone challenges us again, then they'll learn the same lesson the others did, Lisa said. Humanity is no longer weak.